I think that myself, Liam and Sumin, the other founders, are all perfect for the brand because we all love going out, we love drinking, but we hate hangovers. My name is Tim O'Sullivan.
My name's Liam.
Founded in 2018 by Tim O'Sullivan, Sumin Lee, and Liam Gostencnik, Bae Juice is a hangover drink made from 100% Korean pear juice, which has been used for centuries to ease dreaded mornings.
I never put too much pressure on what I was doing at the time or my career or all that sort of stuff.
A lot of entrepreneurs will, like, hard work and persistence and all this sort of cliche garbage that you hear is definitely necessary, but so much of it comes down to luck.
We knew that we had to start this business. So we would all allocate our wages each week into a pool.
I want to be in every single store in the country.
Bae Juice has significantly expanded its retail presence, moving from 60 stores to over 4,000 stores across Australia.
I think just being a problem solver is a very, very important thing.
If you were to find solutions, you've got to enjoy doing it in a way. We just back ourselves to do it better and do it differently, more importantly.
We would rather just go and do it rather than sit there and spend hours analysing.
Where big dreams meet bold action. Where we share real stories, actionable insights, and the inspiration needed to transform your ideas into businesses. Are you ready to turn your ideas into success and be an inspiration to others? Join Inspirepreneur.
My name is Tim O'Sullivan and I'm one of the co-founders of Bae Juice. We are the first ever hangover prevention drink. It's 100% natural and consumed before alcohol to make you wake up feeling better in the morning. I absolutely love what we do. I think that myself, Liam and Sumin, the other founders, are all perfect for the brand because we all love going out, we love drinking, but we hate hangovers. So we love to think that we've created the perfect product. We've solved a problem in people's life and created a solution, which is our product Bae Juice. So with my career, I guess it started when I was expelled from school, which is never ideal. To be completely honest, I got caught shoplifting while I was on a school trip, so don't recommend that. After that, I never went to university, wasn't really interested. I was a tradesman, I travelled, I worked at McDonald's, I did landscaping, I did roof tiling. I worked at nightclubs, I worked at festivals. I just tried it all and I just didn't really care much what I was doing, which I think is a good lesson. I never put too much pressure on what I was doing at the time or my career or all that sort of stuff. So then I sort of happily stumbled into hospitality, where our family brought a cafe in Essendon. It was a small 30-person seated coffee shop and I loved it. I found my calling. It was the personality side of things, it was talking to customers, making coffee, designing food menus. Then I took over the social media and I loved all the marketing and all the socials. And it was just this whole holistic approach of business that I had to learn through the cafe. And then I started understanding wages and margins and ordering foods, meats, eggs, chickens, and all that sort of stuff. So the cafe really sort of built me understanding business very well. And I really, to my credit, dived into it and I wanted to learn more. So it wasn't until sort of 5 years into the cafes when we sort of stumbled across Bae Juice, and I guess that sort of changed my life for good. Well, I think I just loved, although it was a family business, I loved working for myself and for the family, but I really wanted to have something of my own that was a little bit more exciting. I loved hospitality, but I feel like hospitality, you reach the ceiling quite quickly. There's only so much coffee you can sell, only so much food you can do, there's only so much excitement, and I'm someone with such high energy, I need that more stimulation. So once I'd sort of learnt that, hey, I'm pretty good at business, I'm pretty good at hospitality, I really had a hunger for what was next. The problems with major retail distribution is forecasting. So difficult. 1 week you have a giant week in sales, the next week could be a quieter week, but you're trying to forecast ahead. Containers on the water, Bae Juice getting manufactured, Bae Juice going into store. It's just such a large operation. There's just so many moving parts. And as soon as you feel like you've got one part figured out, there's a problem somewhere else. So it's very difficult, that sort of forecasting space, yes, for sure. And trying to make sure you've always got enough stock, but then you can't have too much stock because then it kills your cash flow. So it's quite difficult. So once you hit that high volume sales with a cheap product, like a fast-moving product like ours, it is quite difficult, yes. It was probably 2018, and it was when I met a girl for the first time ever. Her name was Sumin, and we went on a date together. We went out and we hit it off, fell in love, became boyfriend, girlfriend. We lived together for a year, and we had a really great relationship. She even helped at the cafe and all that sort of stuff. And 1 year into the relationship, she said, hey, it's your turn to meet my family. So we flew over to South Korea, and I met every uncle, every friend, every colleague, everyone you can possibly imagine. So I went over there, met them all, and we drank every single day and socialized all the time. And it wasn't until on the way home when we were out at night drunk that everyone would stop at 7-Eleven or Family Marts and all these different convenience stores, and everyone would drink this strange can of juice. The same one, it was about this big, had little bubbles in it, or not little bubbles, like little bits of fruit in it. And I thought it was the strangest thing ever that every night we'd do a pit stop and drink a can of juice. So then I started drinking, it was refreshing, it was nice. And then I kept waking up every morning feeling really good. And I just thought it was being on holiday, you got no stress, you get no hangovers. And then Sumin and her mum kept saying, how are you feeling from the juice? You feeling better? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm okay, why? And they go, oh, it's the hangover juice, you didn't know about it? So I was baffled. I couldn't believe that there was this hangover juice in South Korea, and I did some research on it, and in Seoul University, CSIRO here in Australia, and multiple different research facilities had proven that there was an enzyme inside the Korean pear. It was called DHM, and that enzyme helped metabolize and detoxify alcohol faster. So you drink Bae Juice or drink Korean pear juice before or after drinking. We like to market it before, but you have it whilst drinking, and then you go to sleep and you wake up with less a hangover, essentially. So I thought it was crazy. For how big the drinking culture is in Australia and even in other countries, I saw this as a really cool opportunity. So went back to Australia and caught up with Liam, and we all hung out and we tried the product, and we all felt really good from it. We all decided that, hey, we should try and build this into our own business. The original stage of setting up the business, we had no money. I worked at a cafe, Liam was in real estate, and Sumin was a hairdresser. And we were all just working 5 days a week, making $700 a week max, you know, like not much money, but we knew that we had to start this business. So we would all allocate our wages each week into a pool, and would, you know, that week maybe set up our website, would do the brand. The next week would organise the tax and the GST and sign up for our ABN. The week after that would commit to a domain, and all those little small business setup costs we had to do quite slowly because we all had no money. So we never had big scale investors. We never had our parents originally give us any money because they didn't believe in what we were doing just yet because it was so small. We were only 23 years old, drinking every day, chill, working part-time jobs. So it was fair enough our parents weren't willing to just give us all this money. And some people tease us thinking that, you know, we were given money at the start. But the three of us pulled all our money. We did bit by bit over the course of 6 to 9 months. And then right at the end, we had our brand ready, the website, everything ready to go. We had the container full of product, but we just didn't have enough money for the container, like to pay for the container of stock. So Sumin's dad actually lent us a little bit of money, covered the cost. The container arrived in January 2019, and that's when we officially launched Bae Juice, which was crazy. Like, we'd done all this work. It did move quite quickly looking back at it, from drinking it, understanding it, pitching it, all of us deciding this was a business idea, to the product arriving. You know, it was a pretty quick turnaround, maybe 12 months. You know, some people take 3 years to, you know, conceptualize their ideas. And then the product arrived in Australia, in Melbourne, and then we went and just sampled the product in Liam's mum's car, which we borrowed. We had the whole boot full of stock, and we just went and gifted it to all sorts of different friends and family. So that was sort of how we did our initial sort of launch. No strategy, no idea what we're doing. Our website was terrible, it barely worked. Shopify wasn't connected, it was just a mess. But we had a great product, a great brand, and then we really knew what we were onto. And since that day, we love to talk about this, you know, since that day we've never ever once ever thought that this wasn't gonna work out. The name took about an hour to come up with. Some people spend months and months and months. I can remember exactly where we were. Me, Sumin and Liam were all in the study of my parents' room, sitting there going, what are we gonna call it? We asked Sumin maybe 3 or 4 questions like, what's this mean in Korean? What's this mean in Korean? So we're asking you like party, drink, hangover, how do you say that in Korean? And then we asked, how do you say pear in Korean? And she's like, bae. And we're like, bae, how do you spell that? And she was B-A-E. And we're like, oh, Bae Juice. So it's pronounced bae, like Bae Juice, Baeju in Korean, but it's spelt bae. So we were like, done. That was it. It was literally like the quickest name decision ever. And it was called Bae Juice from then on. And even with our initial branding, it was gold, brown, and green to reflect nature. A natural pear, and like this is wellness brand. And then we met a really cool marketing agency, and they're like, you three dudes are crazy. Not dudes, sorry, you three guys are crazy. This is gonna be at festivals, it's for alcohol, it's called Bae Juice, it should be pink and wild, just like you guys. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good advice actually. So we really pivoted pretty quickly from the natural style to the more crazy, exciting pinks and blues. So it was, once we had the name and the brand, we knew that we were onto something cool. There's one story that we do tell a little bit, and we actually landed Woolworths, which was the most exciting thing ever. Like, it was such a big deal. We went from 100 stores and we landed 1,000 Woolworths stores. So that's a big jump for, like it was a while ago. We would have been 25 years old trying to figure out what to do. And they wanted to order hundreds of thousands of sachets and we had no money. So we spoke to the manufacturer and said, hey, look, everything we've all worked together on, like getting Woolworths, we've done it. And they go, congratulations, this is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. We just said to them, we just don't have any money. So do you think that you could send us some stock on consignment? And then once we sell through, we'll pay you back. But we have to take this opportunity. You only get one yes at a major retailer. You know what I mean? Like, if we said no to them today, that would, on that day, that probably would have been it. So we're very fortunate that they understood and they said, you know what, okay, we'll do it. So they sent a couple of containers for us to help facilitate the Woolworths launch. And then since that day, we've been growing since. So we've been very, very fortunate to have such an amazing relationship, not just partnership, with our manufacturers. The first day that we decided to do the product, Sun Sik, who's the general manager of the pear farm, he took us out for Big Crab and we celebrated and we drank, and he was so happy for us. He kept saying that when he was younger, he wished he took opportunities like what we were trying to do. So he goes, whatever he can do to support us, he will always do. Which is crazy. Like, you hear about people trying to launch like a face care cream or whatever, and they have to pay 50% up front and 50% before it leaves. And then half the time it comes broken and they don't get refunds. And our supplier's taking us out for crab, hugging us, saying, oh, I'm so proud of you guys. So it's pretty special. And it makes our journey and our relationship and everything we've experienced more special. Yeah, so much drinking. And people keep talking about the decline in Australians drinking, but then you keep saying alcohol sales going up. So I'm not really sure who to believe anymore, but as long as people keep buying Bae Juice, I don't care. So that's good. I think one great thing, and it's a great question, is categories and which category that is. Before we even knew that the juice category was quite tight and slow, we had no idea that the juice category was slow. So when we pitched in with 100 stores and enthusiasm, they were really keen to take us on because they're like, look at this. These guys are crazy, young, fun brand, TikTok, social media. These guys could really drive customers into store. So that was really positive for us. It was a bit of a sleepy category, people call it. And a really good example of that is like a High Smile toothpaste. For decades or centuries, it's been Colgate. So those guys looked at their market and gone, we could do something really cool here and make a very tired category very exciting. So the retailers love that. So we went from just boring orange juice and some probiotic drinks to this hangover prevention sachet from Korea. It's exciting. So they really saw that as a huge plus. So that's probably my first tip, finding, a category that is sort of struggling, so then you have a really good chance of getting into it. You look at like the Red Bull category, very difficult. Good luck competing with them. So that's one tip for sure. One thing we always like to talk about is when you're dealing with buyers is sort of de-risking their decision. So they've got 5,000 products in front of them and they need to choose 10, just for example. And why would they choose yours, right? And we had some great advice at the start that you need to de-risk their decision. So you look at these buyers and you tell them, we're gonna drive people to store. We're gonna go to festivals. We're gonna have Bae Juice at Woolworths on our umbrellas. We're gonna push all of our social media and influencer marketing. Oh, hey guys, you can get them for $4 at Woolworths. You know, so we're really gonna drive sales and drive customers into their stores. So that makes them go, you know what? Not only will they get the sales, they're gonna bring people into Woolworths, maybe over Coles and their competitors. So that was a really important one, the marketing side of things and what you're gonna do to bring customers into their stores. So categories, marketing, and I think the third one we always talk about would be visual merchandising. So it's very important to make sure people are visiting stores that your product's even there. A lot of the time, so we were in Hobart recently and I went into the Woolworths and there's just no product on the shelf. So I pulled aside the staff member and said, hey, look, I work for Bae Juice. I just said that just so it was easier. Could you please bring some out? And he goes, oh, okay. Scanned it, went back, came back, put it on the shelves, and I grabbed some more. So it's so important because the product's there, just sitting there collecting dust until someone brings it out. So it's very important to have regular store visits of people making sure the product's well presented and in its location so then you can sell it. If it's not, then it's just waste of time, waste of money, and your product's just sitting there. So that's a really important one too. The next 5 years, we sort of really want to dominate not just being in the hangover space, but the wellness space. So we're excited to launch our new product very soon. And then hopefully in stores, we're going to have 2 facings. And then we want the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. And that's when I think the brand and our revenue, to be honest, let's be honest, that's what it's about, driving the revenue. I think that's when that'll really start to grow much faster. You know, all of our marketing, all of our visual merchandising, all the PR, it now helps and supports all the products, not just trying to buy one. So I think that's really important, and we're going to try and build out products that you have before going out, in the morning. Maybe you could have more daily and some other different variations. So you're consuming a Bae Juice product maybe once or twice a day rather than once a week, which is where we're currently sitting at, which is still crazy to think that we're based around a hangover prevention. We've sold over 5 million units and people only drink it maybe once a week. So, you know, imagine once we start, you know, becoming more of a daily use brand, then things are just going to go to the moon, I think. So that's very exciting. So the next 5 years, drive revenue, new products, and really become a household brand. Yeah, for sure. It's funny, someone quite clever recently said a lot of, like America and Australia, they really drink their health, which I thought was quite a fascinating sentence. You know, you drink collagen, you know, you're drinking your de-bloat drinks, you're drinking your gut health, you're drinking your energy. It's quite fascinating. And then now there's all the chill and calm drinks. So you're drinking your relaxation now, like, you know, what's next? So yeah, I do think consumers really do lean towards beverages for their health benefits. Maybe they're just not as prepared to get their hands dirty. I think but also I think being so engulfed with all the short format content out there, it's very get rich, get quick. You know, this is how you make $100 million on Amazon in 7 hours. And everyone's going, really? And everyone sets an Amazon page up and wastes all their time and orders things from overseas and Alibaba and tries to, you know, I think it's just, the internet just sucks you in that there's lots of shortcuts out there. But I don't really think there is. Like whilst we've had Bae Juice this whole time, me and Liam are still trying to think of get rich schemes. And 6 years, and we're in the industry and we have a huge network from investors to distributors to manufacturers, and we still haven't figured it out. So there's all these young people sitting at home on TikTok with zero life experience trying to get rich quick. And I can honestly think of heaps of examples, but I'm not being belittling or anything, because a lot of the young people in that age demographic are telling me, oh, my mate's trying to get rich quick. Oh, he's trying to do this. He's trying to start this new lotto business like Adrian Portali. So I'm hearing it from them, not just sitting here, you know, being 30 years old, being like, oh, you young kids. You know, they're the ones telling me, going, oh, do you think this would work? Or what about this get rich scheme? And I'm like, no. So I think they're just so engulfed with that kind of content and that world at the moment, with all the excitement from social media, that they think it's quite possible, but it's very difficult. And if they can pull it off, then well done. A lot of people complain the product doesn't work because they've drank it the next day, which is too late. On the packaging, it literally says, drink this before alcohol. Right on the front, before you even put it in your mouth, it says it. And people message us going, It didn't work. I woke up hungover, then I drank it and I still feel terrible. And you're like, how many times, on the front, the back, the website, the Instagram, drink before alcohol, drink before alcohol, drink before alcohol, and everyone drinks it the next morning and then complains to us all the time. So that's always frustrating. No matter what you can do sometimes, you can't always get it right, yeah. Me and Liam have always sampled the product ourselves. We've never ever, no, unless there's been a tasting maybe at a venue, like a liquor store, me and Liam have sampled every single unit over 5-6 years, basically, and Sumin, when Sumin's in town too, of course. And people would come up to me and Liam and be like, oh man, this stuff sucks. It is disgusting. Tell the owners that, because they think that we just work for Bae Juice. So people would come and tell us their opinion because they think there's no way the founders are at a music festival in 40-degree heat, handing out stock, in that sort of condition. So people always thought we were just people that just work for the brand, and they would always tell us, this sucks, why is it in this pouch? Oh, that's lame. So people would always give their feedback thinking we work for them. So that was always quite funny, but it was always a good way to get the feedback. People talking about the flavour, the size, I don't like it when it's warm, it's better when it's cold, it should be in a can. So everyone's always got an opinion on everything, but we've always had pretty good feedback from all of our sampling, which is quite ironic. Sumin grew up with it her entire life. So as a child, going through school and everything, she had it her entire life. Sumin's mum drank it through her whole pregnancy because it's really high in fibre and potassium, which is good for folate or something like that for pregnancies. I'm not really sure. But it's a daily consumption beverage over there. But it's just trying to educate people here that it's just a really healthy drink as well. I think we worked very, very hard day one to make sure that our brand and our values had no rules. That we were that cheeky, fun, lawless company. Maybe not company, brand. We just always did everything a bit more wild. We do crazy skits, we scull drinks at events, we do golf days and drive around buggies and throw beers at people. We've always really wanted to stand out with our personalities through the brand as well. So we've always been able to connect and relate to people. I think it's very important. I think a lot of the other brands out there are very safe, are very quiet and minimalistic and very cool. Not us. We're pink, we're loud, we're nuts. Consumers, if you don't want to, don't worry about it, it's all good, we don't care. It's not egotistical or anything like that. It's just, hey, this is us, you can take it or leave it, but we know the product works, we back the product. So I think we've always done pretty well in that crazy wild space, and it's only been a year and a half since we've done all this crazy content on Instagram and through TikTok. Skits and all this sort of stuff. We invest so much money into our content and so much time, so much energy. But there was at one stage, our Woolworths sales were up 15% over a quarter, which is just crazy for grocery and beverage. And that was when we were doing all the crazy content. So we know it works. So yeah, being that loud, relatable, fun brand and really staying true to that has sort of been the recipe to our success, I believe. Someone very, very clever we met with recently said that, Tim, you and Liam have a bias for action, not strategy. And I thought that was a really cool sentence. I was like, yep, that's so true. We would rather just go and do it rather than sit there and spend hours analysing, is this right or wrong, or should we or shouldn't we? What's the cost? What's the negative about it? Me and Liam are already out the door. And I think that's what's really worked well for us. Trial and error, understanding the brand quickly, people loving that kind of part of us and how we manage the business. So I think that's one good one. Bias for action, I love. And then I think, and if this is answering your question, but then sort of the authenticity piece as well. I think people are quite drawn to working with us. We're the same in the office as we are at home, as we are with our families and our partners, and when we are at the pub, I'd like to think that we're always the same. So I think that reflects into people wanting to work with us. We're starting to build an amazing team. We've got Ava in PR, Heather in doing graphic design. We've just got an intern on today. And it's all people who've just been drawn to us and that we've met out and gone, yeah, let's all work together. And they come in early and they're the last to leave kind of things. They just love being in this Bae Juice environment because there's creative freedom. Me and Liam both bring something different to the business. So yeah, I think the way we run and operate things is definitely unorthodox. there's no real right or wrong way, we like to think. And, you know, we're in this crazy beverage space trying to become a $100 million brand. You know, it is just a little bit mad at times, that's for sure. We love working with Korea. We love everything they do. We love our manufacturer. It's very special to us. You know, like not only did they give us our chance, but it's a Korean product. All the new products are also coming out of Korea too. So I think we hold that quite close, you know, working together. But there's also some great grants from working together. We're part of an agricultural committee. We're in lots of press in Korea, so the media loves talking about Bae Juice and, oh, the cool Korean pear juice brand in Australia just got this deal. So it's kind of like a nice little synergy we've got with each other. And then let's be honest, it's cheaper. The price is great. Yeah. So we've got really high margins. They can pump it out really quickly, and it's really high quality product. So we're happy with that. I think once you Bae Juice is the core. So once you get everything done with Bae Juice and you have a bit of energy and time for other stuff, it's not too difficult, but it is quite nice mixing things up. I think 1 minute you're in food menus and hospitality and working in a high energy environment like a cafe and working at night at functions. And then the next minute you're here with my best mate and Sumin, and we're doing all the content and having a bit of fun. So I think it's just a really nice mix. They stimulate you in different ways. They give you different ideas. So I've always seen them as complementary, as long as Bae Juice is always the priority. And not just saying this to schmooze, but like we have a board, we've got shareholders, we have goals that we hit. So, you know, it's really important that we prioritize. I don't think I'm multitasking. I think I ping around a lot. Whether I'm doing things at the same time is another question. Yeah. Me and Liam had multiple failed businesses before this one. And we never cared. Poor words. We only ever saw them as part of our journey, and we thought it was kind of cool. We were like, oh, well, we had a failed food truck. We had different other ideas. We had different caffeinated beverage concepts that we got right to the end for, but we didn't go through with. We were going to launch our own soju. We were going to do our own beer. We were going to do our own vodka brand, you name it. We've always tried different things. Sometimes we wasted money on it. Sometimes we wasted heaps of time on it. We'd get logos designed for thousands of dollars and then not do the business. But we just saw it as all part of our journey, and we just loved it. We just really enjoyed doing it and having a go. And I think that we learnt so much. You know, again, you know, no degrees, expelled from school. We barely got through school, to be honest, but we sort of learnt on the job the whole time. And I think it sort of led us to Bae Juice. And I still think Bae Juice mightn't be the biggest business we ever launched, to be honest. I think this is just another small stepping stone to what, you know, we all accomplish next. So, yeah, we just kept trying things. And like I said in the intro, I was a landscaper. I did carpentry, bartending. So I always just tried everything and until, you know, it all sort of stuck. And now I'm really passionate about the beverage and branding space and all that sort of stuff. So it'd definitely be being a problem solver, not a problem announcer. And I think that comes with being a founder in the sort of crazy startup world that we're in. A lot of people make a lot of noise and, you know, you really like make a big deal about small problems instead of just solving it and just moving on. I see it happen a lot. I think a lot of founders, you know, oh, everything's so hard. Oh no, this happened, you know what I mean? But it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. If you just solve it and move on, you go do something more positive and more exciting that's going to build the business and help you grow. So yeah, I think just being a problem solver is a very, very important thing. And that was one of our old bosses told me and Liam both that one. Me and Liam used to be door knockers. So back in the day, so that was advice he gave us. But like one thing I've been speaking about recently to other founders, because lots of people reach out to me and Liam and we sort of chat about our journey and all that sort of stuff, like right now. And one thing I've sort of touched on quite more regularly lately is, you know, everyone trying to just be a perfectionist with everything they do, wasting so much time on such small, useless little things. Like me and Liam we used to sit there and worry about our first or second post on Instagram. We spend hours going, oh, but it looks bad, the color's wrong, what should we write for the caption? You post it and you get 3 likes in a week. And we spent hours on it. So I think founders get so caught up in being such a perfectionist or early stages of your business, you spend all the money on big agencies and you spend all this time trying to be so perfect when the end of the day, it's just about moving and scaling the business, I guess. But yeah, outside of that, I can't think about too much more to touch on, really.
My name's Liam. I'm one of the co-founders of Bae Juice, Australia's first hangover prevention juice. It's Korean pear juice, all natural, 100%, nothing else in it. And in my unbiased opinion, it's the greatest product ever. So when I finished school, it was such a burden off my back. I absolutely hated school. I went to uni for 3 days. My first tutor, I didn't know where I was going. I needed to go to the toilet, and I sat down on the toilet and I just thought, well, what am I doing here? And I got my laptop up and I deferred and I left and I've never been back. And then I was doing all this bunch of stuff. And then I actually rekindled my friendship with Tim. I was selling electricity door to door. I was out in Point Cook. And I remember looking on Instagram and seeing Tim, he was in a suit, had his feet up on the desk with a coffee and was one of his Instagram posts. And I just thought, what is this idiot up to these days, right? So I called him. Turns out he was actually doing the same thing, but he was door knocking for the Peter MacCallum Cancer Foundation. So I got a job, and we basically walked around the streets of Melbourne signing people up, or trying to sign people up to monthly donations to the Peter Mac Cancer Foundation. From there, I then went and worked in commercial real estate for about almost 5 years, where I did everything. And that's when I got a phone call from Tim, and we'd always been interested in get rich quick schemes and doing different businesses. We had a sandwich deli we wanted to open. We had an app we were thinking about doing. And then whilst he was sort of touring Korea and meeting the other co-founders, Sumin's family, he basically called me and said, they're all drinking this fucking pear juice over there. So let's, let's bring it back here. So, I sort of worked another 6 months in commercial real estate, and in order to sort of take this seriously, I quit that because the hours were absolutely hectic. And then I worked hospitality. I worked at Tim's Cafe. I worked at friends' pubs until we finally went full time, sort of 3 or 4 years in, early March, sort of 2023. And we've been doing this ever since. I got introduced to it. Well, like I said, Tim was, I was probably having a cigarette when I used to smoke on a break in real estate, and Tim called me, and obviously I'd met Sumin before, and because we were all hanging out. Tim and I hung out every day, so Sumin was just an addition to that, whether she liked it or not. That's how life was. And so, I was already learning about Korea and things like that. And then when Tim sort of went over and had a trip to meet her family, that's where it all happened. It came back, and I had, when I was working in real estate, we had this, my agency that I worked for had this sort of marketing agency that we used to get everything outsourced to market, brochures, IMs, everything. They did all our marketing material. But they were an office in Cremorne, and they were very because we were doing, big scale real estate buildings and stuff that I think a creative designer would find mundane pretty quickly. So I just thought that if we gave them, threw them a bone, something different, no rules, this is the idea, it's a hangover juice, it's from Korea, we want to sell it here, just go for it. And that's what they did. So they came up with the brand, and from there we sort of built a business, and all the opened a bank account, all that stuff that you do. And then we got a container in here, and we've been selling it ever since. I think it was such a crazy idea, it was something that I'd never heard of. So we've never been like that. We've never really been. We're open books, when it comes to, if you want to do what we're doing, that's fine. We just back ourselves to do it better and do it differently, more importantly. So we're not really worried about what information we share and, telling sort of various aspects of our business, of our story, doesn't really bother us. I think what we're really good at is identifying an aspect of the business that would be better off outsourced. That allows us to focus on important things like, growing the business, for instance. And then, entrepreneurial life is like everything's going well, then there's a fire over there and you got to go put that out, and then you put that to bed, and it's like, great, we're back on track, and then there's something else. So it's always, you're always moving about doing various aspects. So, in that being said, everything we outsource requires management from our end, but there's a lot of nitty-gritty. So like I said, we've always been really good at being like, that particular pillar of the business is better off being, paying someone to do it for us, really. We got some pretty bad legal advice at the start of the business. Our shareholders agreement was a mess. Things like that. We've been through many bookkeepers and accountants. We've finally just landed 6 years in on one. I'm sure, in the perfect world, you get that right from day one, but they're all learnings. And it's an interesting business we're in. So your average bookkeeper, and I've sat in meetings with big corporate accountants who look at us and go, there's so many moving parts. Like, we've never seen something like this. And that's probably a combination of the fact that we're small and, all the different payment terms we have with Woolworths and Dan Murphy's and all the different rebates that would come, it's all this stuff that is hard to understand, get your head around and then manage. This is another example of us identifying that we were better off in someone, working with someone who is a bit more professional and understanding of that area. So we pitched to Dan Murphy's. We learnt that, we would hound people on LinkedIn, you'd hear nothing from them. Finally learned that there's a sort of a portal that you go on that you put in your presentation and your spiels and all this kind of stuff about your product for range reviews. And we just kept going to Dan Murphy's thinking, hangover prevention, we're best sorted, we should be next to alcohol, we should be next to alcohol. And we just kept getting no's. But the problem is we never had any fronting relationships with the people that were making the decisions. So when we would get the no, whilst it sucked, we didn't get any feedback as to why it was a no. Right time, right place. Two guys called George and Christian worked in, for different various big brands, worked for the retailer side, had started an own business to help businesses like us sort of get their foot in the door for the major retailers. So we met with them. We loved the fact that they were sort of like us, had jobs, quit them to do their own thing. They saw a gap in the market, similar to us. So then we sort of signed with them, and they sort of really helped us sort of get our runs on the board. They were able to, connect directly with decision makers at the big retailers, so that then when we were meeting with them, and if it was a no or if it was a yes, we were getting direct feedback on our product and what these big retailers thought of our product and thought of our brand. So that was really pivotal for us. And then we got a 16-store trial in Dan Murphy's in August 2019, I want to say. We outsold Red Bull in that trial period. I don't know how many people are buying Red Bull from Dan Murphy's, but still sounds good. And then we went so well, they put us into all their stores and about 700 BWSs. And in that time, during COVID, again, right time, right place, Woolworths were looking at their juice fridge and thought, it's pretty boring, need something else in here. We're very, we don't have a really point of difference from other retailers. We've had the same brands in there. They're selling well, but we need something sort of new and exciting in there. And then there we were. So a lot of entrepreneurs will, like, hard work and persistence and all this sort of cliche garbage that you hear is definitely necessary, but so much of it comes down to luck. There are a lot of hard people out there. There's a lot of people out there who work their backsides off and they don't get anywhere. I'm not saying you can sit on the couch like this and do nothing and you're going to get lucky. Not always the case, but so much of it is right time, right place. And it's happened a lot for us over the 6 years. I think, we've to a degree earned that, but there's a lot of people who have done what we've done and haven't been so lucky to be in the right time, in the right place at the right time, like we have. Absolutely, no, 100%. It's life's problem solution, I think, really, in general. So, and I think if you were to find solutions, you've got to enjoy doing it in a way, you know what I mean? You can't, it's not just a maths equation. I sucked at maths, and maths is problem solution, but I hated it. I think if I like, all the good mathematicians must really love maths. I just think when I'm in there, I can't find what I want, because it's just there's just product everywhere. But yeah, absolutely. Our number one goal: if we get in more stores, we make more money, and we get product into more people's hands. So I want to be in every single store in the country, whether it's a beauty salon, if it's a bakery, or a supermarket. I want to be in all of them. When it comes to product reviews, and people, because we have done pretty much all the sampling of our product. We've gifted it and we've given it for events where we haven't been at, but we've stood at festivals in the pouring rain in 40 degrees. We've done good food and wine shows, we've done expos, and it's all been us. We just get the pink suits on and we get out there. What's great about that is you get really honest feedback, because when we go to these things, founders are often there, but they're not on the tools, so to speak. They're not the ones, customer facing, if you want to call it that. So a lot of people don't think that we're the founders of Bae Juice, which is great, because they actually tell you what they think, because a lot of people, you give them a product, they don't like it, but they know it's your product, they'll just bullshit you, essentially. So, we get a lot of idiots, they drink the product after they've had 25 beers and a bottle of vodka, and they've had 4 hours sleep, and they've had, no food, and they wake up the next morning and it's like, why am I hungover? And you're like, why are you such a moron? We used to take that stuff really, really personally. It's just water off a duck's back now. We don't really bother with it too much anymore. Feedback's feedback. There's people out there that they're just going to do it for the fun of it, So I personally have never left a bad review on anything. And then at the end of the day, reviews are reviews, whether they're really important or not. I think there might be some sort of back end importance to them with how you look on Google or whatever that is. But I know a lot of things that I leave positive reviews for are for friends' products. So it's how truthful are they really? You know what I mean? And with me anyway, if it's like a restaurant review or something like that, I prefer to go and see for myself without killing each other. It's pretty easy. I think, my parents and friends always said, "Oh, don't get into business with your friends," So I just think, I don't know why it works. It just works well with me and Tim. I think whilst we're the same, there's still a bit of a yin and yang about us as well. So I think we all contribute on things, but there's things that, everything we do is collaborative. I'll say that. But there are things that Tim recognises I'm better off managing. So therefore I have this, the final say. And it's not us sitting in a meeting being like, no, we don't really disagree. We honestly don't really disagree. If anything, we're just disagreeing in a jovial kind of way. It's we'll be whiteboarding something and it'll be like, nah, I don't think we should do that. It's never toys out of the cot, fighting each other, abusing each other. It's never like that. So there's aspects of the business that Tim sort of, is more playing a managerial role for. So therefore it's at the end of the day, you've got to pick your fights, don't you? So if it's if he really wants it to go in that direction, go for it. And then there's same with me. There's aspects that I play a bit more of a manager role. So I suppose but at the end of the day, before we even started Bae Juice, we were hanging out every day for 6 years. So, I think that it just, I don't know why. I think, relationship people might want to dissect it and analyze it, but it just works. I think so. And then we went to school together and, yeah, it's a weird one that I can't, you always hear people say, don't get into business with family for it, don't get into business with your friends. And you only ever hear about, at the end of the day though, if two people come together and they're not friends and build a business, they still have to hang out all the time. So, I just would have thought it would be better just to get along before you start a business, And for every negative and story of failure, there's always going to be a story of success of a family that have run a business for years and years and it's going very well, and for friends that have run a business and now they've sold it out. So yeah, I don't really buy into any of that. We want to get more products, definitely, and we want to get more shelves. This is what I want. I want a meter of our products on the shelf. Like a meter, like a whole meter. 1 meter on the shelf, different products, 4 or 5 products, and that's pretty much all we really want. So we've got a new product launching in April, which is really exciting, and it's great. It's been a great test case for us. It's all new development and we've been able to do it really quickly. So there's a lot of things there that say to us, well, if this goes well and we get it on the shelf, awesome. And then we know in the future, if we need to, if we've got another idea, we've got a great manufacturer who formulate things for us, we can bash that out pretty quickly and have it here on the shelf, ready to be sold. Yeah, well, I'm actually selling I've got my own storage unit in that same place right now, and I'm selling a couple of things that I have in there, like fridges and tables and stuff like that, because I was just like saving it for when I buy a house or have room for it. But anyway, so that's the same storage, it's Kennard's storage units are in there. We loved it because it was like, it was really close to home. We had this 20-foot container arrive one day, and we were like, what are we going to do with this? We had the storage unit there. We just had to rent out the storage unit first before the container came, obviously. And we saw it, we thought that'll be big enough, that space, we hope. We opened the door, and there's product literally falling on us as we're opening the door of this container. It was jammed packed, like you couldn't fit one piece of paper in there afterwards. As we stacked the last box in the storage unit, it just closed. So we spent many nights in there, packing orders. We had a Daily Mail article probably 3 or 4 months in, and we did $30,000 online one day. And I remember I was working at Tim's cafe, his family cafe, and it was actually the night of their Christmas party. So we spent the night before we went to the Christmas party, literally stacking, we had selling 6 packs, 12 packs and 24 packs on our website. And because the article, was on the Daily Mail, we had so much traffic through the website. And we just sat on the concrete packing boxes till the early hours of the morning. It was close to home. It was really good. It was, the people down there, a lot of people run businesses out of these storage sheds. So I know you kind of walk around there and you start to recognise people. It's great. We love that it's all done elsewhere now and all done by third-party logistics. It was just like, it was like humble beginnings. It was like starting something out of your bedroom or your garage or something like that. It was, it had this real sort of, I suppose, early stage hustle kind of vibe to it, it was great. And every time we went there, it was because we had to get stock to take to someone. So it was always like, the more we're there, the better, because we're selling product or we're, picking up product to sell to a store or to give to, someone for an event or to give to an influencer or to give to friends and family. So whenever we were there, it was a good vibe because we were getting rid of stock and the product was moving around. I've always been of the thought that, where we get our pears from in Korea, it's like the best place you can get Korean pears in the world, So that would require a lot of logistical and no doubt a lot of headaches. We have to grow the pears here. And if we're growing pears in Victoria, are they going to be as good as the quality Korean pear as they will be from where we got from? So I think, at the moment, it just makes sense for us to get over there. Is there plans for the future? Maybe. There might be someone who comes in, and if we sell the business, who might find a more cost-effective way for that, for us to grow it here or things like that. But we're getting pears from the best place in the world to get Korean pears from. Why change that? We've always been, that's one of our mantras. We're always pretty big on making sure our product is really high quality. At the end of the day, you can have a good brand. It can be attractive to the consumer. It can be, but if the product isn't good or if it isn't quality, people don't come back for it. What would be the reasons people fail? I'm not sure. We just pulled back from America because we had to make a decision. The Australian business was going to have to start funding that, or we would have had to raise money. So I think, potentially fast expansion probably hurts a lot of brands, a lot of businesses. For us, like I said, being lucky, right time, right place. When we went into Woolworths, we were in 100 stores, and we had, half a container in our storage unit, and all of a sudden you've got 1,000 stores who want to order your product. So, if you're not in a position or you're not prepared, to cater for that, then you're done. Game over. We've been very fortunate that we've got support, especially from our manufacturer, who's helped us facilitate a lot of that growth, and been a bit of a safety net for that growth. So, growth could be a really good thing, but I guess it can cripple a lot of businesses who can't keep up with, demand for the product, and we still struggle to keep up for demand for the product. You know, it takes 30 days for us to ship for a container just on the water. You know, they can sort of prepare the product and get it ready in the container in about a week. But maintaining and keeping up with sort of forecast and sell through of the product is very difficult. And because our product is, you know, like I'm not sure about other products, but our product's quite seasonal in the sense that it spikes heavily in summer. You know, but when our sales spike is when a freight cost spike is. So we are shipping a lot of stock at the most expensive time of the year to ship it. And we've had issues with, when it comes around to December, a lot of people who work on the docks go on strike because they know it's a busy period, a lot of stock coming in, and they know they can sort of bend the hand to try and get themselves a pay rise. So it's all this stuff that you just didn't think you were signing up for that you you have to deal with. Or like, who can consume the product? Well, anyone can consume the product. I think a lot of people the first feedback was people thinking it was in one of those like baby yogurt pouches, right? So we're selling a product in a sort of format that is being drunk by a lot of kids and babies. So and then because we sort of tie ourselves with alcohol, a lot of people can like, I think I heard you before say you've never drunk it because you don't drink, but you can still have the product. If you Google the Korean pear, there's so many benefits for it. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a juice. A lot of people drink orange juice every day. A lot of people drink apple juice every day. It's just a juice. Anyone can drink it. We've always just gone with a hangover angle just because it had been the most niche for us. We think it was we were offering a problem solution and a bit of a point of difference to the rest of the market. So when our juice is on the shelf, it's not just a juice, it's a functional juice. The 3 pieces of advice, make sure you get feedback from the retailer. It's always really important as well for you to find out what these buyers and these category managers are trying to achieve, because you've got a couple of different people who look after different sections, each section of the supermarket. So a lot of the time is them trying to fill a need for that category. So if you were able to find out what they are after, that's very, very important as well. And then with the retail, once you're in retail, whilst you're pitching to retail, of course, you've got to actually show the consumer. You've got to show the kind of demographic you're going to bring into store. Hopefully that's either matches or there's positives and negatives for both what your answers would be. If you're showing a retailer that you're going to bring in a different type of customer, that's also a good thing. Sometimes they might see that as a bad thing because they look and go, well, this is my demographic, and you're saying that our customer doesn't actually buy your product. So there's pros and negatives with it. The other thing is retail merchandising. The biggest investment every month for us is retail merchandising. And we have a team going across the country going into store, and what they're doing for us is basically a number of different things. So we get allocated one spot on the shelf, which is awesome. But they'll go in and they'll use their relationships with managers and things like that to try and get a bigger facing on the shelf. So we just, instead of one row, might have 1 or 2 or 3. We also get them to try and get off locations for us. So you can see around, we've got like that thing over there is that sits on the counter. And then we've got, this means we've got different touch points for the customer while they're in store. We always heavily invested in driving people to store early days. At the end of the day, any Woolworths in the country has thousands and thousands of people going in every day. And then over the course of the year, millions, right? So we use these things as like a billboard in store. We try and convert the customer while they're in store, right? And on that thing as well, we can also, on our little display shelves and everything like that, we're allowed to say much more about the product. We can, make the branding bigger, because at the end of the day, we're a small pouch this big. So that's really important. And the other thing as well is a lot of these retailers are slow. A lot of these people that are working at sort of retailers, they're kids. There's stacking shelf for their kids, right? So sometimes you can have the product in store, but it's actually not out on shelf. So they go in, they make sure it's out on shelf, they make sure there's a ticket on there. Even the things that you don't have, if your product's out there and it doesn't say what it is, it doesn't have a price point, people don't buy it. So there's so many moving parts when it comes into retail to making sure it's a success. People pick it off the shelf. So promotional plans and all this kind of thing. So I think be inventive with it and just don't sit on your laurels and get a product on shelf and sit there and go, job done. It's not. So I don't know. I think it's just, I think it's being clear in your beliefs. I think we always backed our product from day one. We got that first sachet. We said, yep, this is going to work. It's not necessarily always needing to create a product that's going to solve a problem. You might create a product that's giving consumers choice, giving them an alternative to something else they're doing. A lot of brands have because that's at the end of the day, a lot of products, there's always great innovation, but a lot of the household brands that have been around for 50, 60 plus years. So a point of difference, I think we're a bit like, you look at our product on the shelf, it's a little bit louder and a little bit, it has a bit more personality, I like to think. That's one thing that we've always been able to, we've always seen as really important for us, is that we look at the big brands and go, we don't really try and compete with them, we just try and do things a little differently. And one way that we can be different to them is we can give our brand a personality, which is what we do over social media and things like that. But at the end of the day, we want people to go in a product. We want people to go into store, pick our product up, and feel like they know us. Then that's not from an ego thing or anything like that. It's just because we want people to relate with our lifestyle, and relate with what we're trying to do, and just relate with us as humans, really. I think it's always changing. That things like that are always changing for us. If you asked me this question 6 months ago, my answer would be different. I think we just, everyone's on social media a lot these days, especially our demographic and the younger demographics. And that world changes every day as well. Different trends, different things that are getting good eyeballs and stuff. And it's not necessarily views that are really important. It's engagement is more important on social media. And just really driving home the messaging for our brand and connecting our brand with the right products who have the similar community or a different community that might engage with our community. And then at the end of the day, we can't really tell with our retail sales because we did this. It resulted in that. It's really hard to tell that because there's no really data to show that. I can't. You might see our product first on Instagram and then go in to buy, our product off the shelves at Woolworths. And unless I ask you that question and I meet you 2 weeks later, I'll never know that's why you did that, right? So, but you can make some pretty safe assumptions. You can go, right, we're always looking at sales data in different locations across the country. And so we go, well, we're doing this and our engagement in our social media has gone up and our sales seem to be following it. So you can make some accurate assumptions, I like to think, but you can't really follow the customer from the start of the journey to the end to purchase. It's just general advice. Motion creates emotion. It's the best bit of advice I've ever received in my life. And to me, it just means, get active, go and do something. It generates ideas and ideas, and we've got millions of ideas a year. So motion creates emotion is one of my favourite lines. I think it's from a movie actually as well. Well, last year we did $2.5 million in revenue. We're on track to do $4 million in revenue this calendar year. I was speaking calendar years. So yeah, it's all good. We just want to add more products. And more products is more sales, different opportunities, more fun. And I think we've built the right relationships. One of the reasons we have so many different opportunities to do other things is because of our success here with Koreans are very patriotic people. I think it might be behind America one of the most patriotic countries on the planet. So when they hear that they've got their Korean pear juices selling in Australian supermarkets, they're very proud of that. And then from there, we get a lot of PR over and a lot of coverage from news over in Korea. And with that, people who are sort of manufacturing products or selling products over there, Korean products, have asked us to white label products and bring them here to help them get them into Australian supermarkets. So that's why there's always another opportunity for us to do. Like we've actually got a business that we've set up that we want to start doing outside of Bae Juice. So we want to start doing different products pretty much 100% exclusively produced in Korea. And you walk down the supermarket aisle and the Asian groceries, the Asian aisle's growing every day. There's even like the Korean, there's a Korean spice paste called gochujang. Have you heard of that before? Yeah, so it's I love it. I've got to eat it with a spoon, but it's that I can't remember that being in Woolies a couple of years ago. They've got a couple in Woolies now. So yeah, I think Japan's always been the coolest Asian country. I think Korea is very close behind it, and I think because of that, and people traveling to Korea, the byproduct, of that is that Korean barbecues and cuisine and culture is starting to. I think they're actually opening a Koreatown in Melbourne. Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think our experience in America, a lot of their entrepreneurial community, and especially in the product space that we were in, it was much more collaborative than it is here. Everyone tends to hide their cards here a little bit more, but over there it was kind of like we met like one of the big competitors for us when we were over there. We met the CEO and he was just like, lovely, like love what you guys are doing, we need more, so their attitude towards competition and assisting other brands or assisting people in the fast moving consumer goods space, it's much more heavy, their appetite for it. Here it's very people are very protective, where they're less so protective in America. We really love that aspect of it. There's always events on and things like that. I think Australia's getting better, but that's one thing that, one big change, one big difference we noticed between the American and the Australian markets.